Hey, it's Scott, and I'm here in Pittsburgh at the NEMC conference, and with that, as we were wandering around the exhibit hall, I came across Sam, who's a ER doc from California. And more importantly, as we were playing, he showed me this syringe, and he said, you know what, you actually like taking care of kids. He's like, do me a favor, take a peek at this thing and tell me what you think. And it's called the Pedi-Dose, and it was created by Dr. Sam. But with that, a couple things if you don't mind, can you tell us about this? Because when I first saw it, for lack of a better term, I started fanboying. And I'm like, this is actually really cool, if you would.
Well, thanks for that. So this has been evolving since the late 90s during my residency. At the time, I remember seeing a nurse writing calculations on a paper towel. I had a patient who had a seizure. She was writing calculations. I thought there's got to be a better way to dose medicines. Initially, I wanted to have a dosing device that was aimed at resuscitation medications, and then over time it evolved to be something that was more commonly used. So acetaminophen, ibuprofen, diphenhydramine are frequently used by parents and also me in the ER, nurses. And getting the dose right is really important. So if you get the dose right, oftentimes you may not need the ER. And so it led to this doser. It basically allows you to draw up to the weight of your child in pounds, up to 50 pounds. And it works for those 3 common medications. So there are no more calculations with this. It's very simple, easy to use device. So that's the target, simple solutions. Isn't that your?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So when I, again, took a look at it from a medic and more importantly from a former life ER nurse perspective, I initially just saw a couple things, which I'm like, okay, this really is kind of neat. Somebody really smart actually put some thought into this. And with that, a couple things come into play. The first of which is the drugs that are on the side. There's only 3. But when it comes to kids, unless you're like horribly sick, it's 3 of the most common drugs we actually give to kids. And that's acetaminophen, which remember is Tylenol. We've got ibuprofen, otherwise known as Motrin. And we've got diphenhydramine, otherwise more commonly known as Benadryl. And with that, that's the only 3 drugs that you play with. And as Sam mentioned, you just have to figure out what's the weight of your kid. And from the parent's perspective, they didn't put kilos, right? In healthcare, kilos are absolutely where it's at. And if you're in the UK or Europe, kilos are where it's at. But from a parent's, meaning not medical perspective, you just ask how much does your kid weigh, and they're going to tell you pounds. So with that, if you know the kid weighs 20 pounds, you just simply go ahead and pull the syringe back to where it says, imagine that, 20 pounds. And that will give you your dose of Tylenol, it will give you your dose of Motrin, and it'll give you the dose of Benadryl as well. Now, why this is kind of neat, though, is admittedly after 30 years of playing in the ER, I mean, I can tell you the dose of Tylenol off the top of my head per kilo, and I can tell you the dose of Motrin per kilo off the top of my head. But I genuinely didn't know that when you pull it up in cc's or milliliters, that they were the same. I'm like, why did nobody teach me that? Like, oh, I don't know, 20 years ago. A couple things that are neat about the syringe, again, from the hospital perspective, kilos, great, you can figure it out. But even if parents show up at triage and you say the kid weighs 20 pounds off the top of your head, you can do basic medical math and say, you know what, just divide by 2, and that's going to be 10 kilos. But when I first look at this, I'm like, this is neat for the hospital perspective, but really when I envisioned it, I saw, number one, that in the ER, if the kid has a fever, which is a boatload of people, you could very easily send parents home with this. Or if you're in a pediatrician's family practice doc office, I'm like, oh my gosh, send everybody home with this. This just seems a whole lot safer. It's a whole lot easier. Parents, as long as they have a rough idea how much their kid weighs, and if they're going to give Tylenol, great. If they're going to give Motrin, great. If you're going to give Benadryl, great. As long as you know what your kid weighs, just pull it back to there. The syringe, if you remember, has this end, which is only for oral syringes.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's important because if it would have been the other one, that would have been a major no-no because you don't want to squirt this into an IV line. But with that, remember, this is not going to plug into anything. So the only way it's going to be given is hopefully orally. But with that, if you know the weight of the kid and you have one of these incredibly commonly given drugs for kids, just pull it back, give it. And honestly, I think this is going to be something you're going to play with far more in the future.
Yeah, and then we didn't mention teaspoons at all, but teaspoons. it's crazy that that's even discussed these days. And I'll say one more thing about the tip there.
Please.
So there are different types of medicine bottles. Some of them have a constricted valve so that a kid can't just lift it up and chug it. So this will fit into that tip, but the size of the syringe also fits into the bottles that don't have that preventive top.
That's a nice touch. And you're right, teaspoons and tablespoons outside of culinary school,
Crazy, yeah.
people incredibly easily get confused which is which, and one is 5 milliliters, the other is 15. And if you tell the parents to do a third of a teaspoon, Lord knows what they're going to come up with.
Yeah. And I'll also say on the side, if you read the boxes themselves, what you get are dosing ranges. So weight ranges or age ranges, and frequently it's under this age, go call a doctor. So the sides of boxes of oral dosing medications are just not very helpful. So hopefully this will make life easier for a lot of parents.
Game on. Sam, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
so much for the chat.
Scenarios in Seconds was designed to be a simple and effective way to regularly train for pediatric emergencies. A Navy SEAL said it best: under pressure, we don't rise to the occasion, we sink to the level of our training. Ultimately, your next PEDS patient could be your worst PEDS patient, and we don't want you to just get ready, we want you to stay ready. And Scenarios in Seconds was designed to help you do just that.